These are the materials needed for the chicken butt pillow. I used Lion Brand Heartland yarn, which is a weight 4 yarn, 100% acrylic, and I used 4 different colors, a size G 4.0 millimeter crochet hook, scissors, tapestry needle, and a 16 by 16 inch pillow form for the pillow. There is a front and a back panel chart that goes along with the pattern, and the chart does not include the beginning chains. You will be making this from the bottom up in 2 different panels and then seamed together. Each row of the chart alternates between right to left and then left to right. The right-handed side is odd, which is the right side of the piece, and the left side of the chart has even numbers, which is the wrong side. Every block on the chart indicates 1 single crochet. The chain 1 at the beginning of the row does not count as a stitch, and you need to be familiar with how to yarn under when doing tapestry crochet. So if you want to learn more about that technique, you can view this blog post right here. Carry the main color along when using the complementary color. Gently tug the non-dominant color to minimize show through, and make sure you carry your non-dominant color on the wrong side. And you can watch this video right here to minimize show through. This pattern tutorial is best viewed with the written pattern up next to you, so you can get the free pattern right here. And if you want several picture aids, you can get the premium PDF right here. To begin, you're going to grab the main color, which I use Glacier Bay as the main color for my pillow. And working on the front, you can see it says we need to chain 64. So I'm going to make a slip knot, insert my size G 4.0 millimeter crochet hook, and then I'm going to chain 64. 63, 64. So you can see I have my 64 chains. And now row 2, we're going to ignore the loop on our hook. That doesn't count as a stitch. This is the first stitch right here, and this is the second stitch. Going into the second stitch from our hook, we're going to single crochet 1, and then going into the next stitch, single crochet 1, and we're just going to single crochet 1 in each chain down this first row 1. Let me show you again. The next chain stitch we need to work, you can see we've worked this one right here. So the next one we need to work is right here. So I'm going to insert my hook into that chain space, drop a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and that's 1 single crochet. Inserting my hook into the next chain, drop a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So this whole pillow is going to be made with single crochet stitches. Single crochet is best for tapestry crochet because it is our most compact crochet stitch besides the slip stitch. So that is why I'm going to be using single crochet for this tapestry crochet pillow. So I'm going to continue to do this all the way down for row 1, and then let's meet back up for row 2. Here I am at the end of row 1. To do row 2, I will chain 1 and turn. And now I'm going to be working back along this side for the pillow. So going into that first stitch at the base of the chain 1, because the chain 1 does not count as a stitch in this pattern, I'm going to single crochet 1, going into the next stitch, single crochet 1, and again just doing 1 single crochet in each single crochet down row 2. So for row 1, we ended with 63 stitches. Row 2, we will also only have 63 stitches. We aren't going to be doing any increases or decreases in this pattern, but we will be doing lots of color changes. So I'm going to do this all the way through row 14. Row 15 is where we're going to start doing some color changes. And so we will first talk about the chart, and I'll explain the chart, so hopefully you'll be able to understand it a bit better and feel comfortable with it. And then we will work on row 15 together, which is our first tapestry crochet row for the front of this pattern. So just working evenly through rows 2 through 14, and then let's meet back up after we've finished row 14. Let's talk about the chart explanation portion. So this is the PDF pattern of the chart that you can get if you purchase my pattern on my shops, Etsy, Ravelry, or my website. So you can see on the right hand side we have this row labeled 1, and then 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. So this is when you're working from right to left. The right sides will be odd, and then if you come to this side, you can see the left side of the chart is even. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So the wrong side of the chart is even numbers, and then the right side is odd numbers if you are a right-handed crocheter. So we have worked 14 rows so far. We're on row 15. So you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares of blue and then 2 squares of white. So each square represents a single crochet. So we'll do 5 single crochets. Before we switch and complete this 5th single crochet, we're going to complete that single crochet with the strand white, and then that's going to help us be ready to then do 2 single crochets with white. And same thing with this last single crochet. Before we complete this single crochet with white, we're going to complete it with blue, so then we will be ready to work with blue. And I'll show you how to do that more in a bit. So this is the PDF that you can get. If you are viewing this on my blog or YouTube, then you might come to this Stitch Fiddle pattern, which is the digital tracking version. And so to track it digitally, you're going to press this button right here. It looks like a little like pinpoint icon location. So if you push that, you can see we're down here at number 1. Row 1 is highlighted. You can see. And then when we finish that, we go up, and now it's highlighting row 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you can see it's saying right here what row we're on. So if we are going up to row 15, where we're going to be starting, we can quickly glance and see what we will be doing for that row, which is really helpful. You can make individual bobbins of the complementary color, the white here. I think I'm going to carry it along for these first 2 rows and then have a bobbin for the question mark, and then use this for the skein because I'll just be able to easily carry that through. But I'm not going to want to carry it across, how many stitches is that? 10, 13 stitches. I don't really want to carry the white across 13 stitches. You can, I'd prefer not to. So once I get to this row, row 18, I'm going to have a separate little ball for this part and then the main skein of white for that part. And then for the guess part, I'll just carry it throughout the whole thing because it's about the same height. So let's start doing row 15 together. Before we start crocheting row 15, I want to show you we need to make that little bobbin for the question mark, because once our complementary color is attached, I don't want to cut it to make a bobbin if I don't have to. Oh no, this is a bad pull. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Well, here we are. Okay, this is way more than is needed for that bobbin. but I'm just, because I'm being lazy, I'm just gonna use that center part. So this is the bobbin for the question mark. I'm gonna set that aside, and now I'm ready to use my main skein of complementary color 1 to be able to use it for this row. So I've done my 14 rows of solid main color. I'm ready for row 15. I've already done my chain 1, and looking to the chart, it says we need to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need to do 5 main color. Let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and instead of yarning over and completing that 5th single crochet like we normally would, I'm going to stop with 2 strands on my hook, pull main color forward, and then I'm going to complete this 5th stitch with my new color that I'm going to be needing for the next single crochet. And so normally you yarn over like this, but I am going to be yarning under for these color changes because it makes a cleaner transition between the colors. So you can see we completed our 5th single crochet, and you can't tell that there is white on it right now. So I need to do 2 single crochets with my complementary color. I want to crochet over my main color so that I will have it ready when I need it right here. So I'm going to be carrying my main color so I can pick it back up and use it here. So holding the main color on the back with my middle finger, and then not putting it right on top, but slightly rolling it to the back, since this is the right side I'm looking at. And then I'm going to single crochet 1, give that tail a little tug, and now I need to do 1 more, and this is my last one. So again, I've got my main color sandwiched behind, holding it with my middle finger, and stop because I need to then pull my complementary color forward, grab my main color, and yarn under with my main color. Give it a little bit of a pull for the complementary color, and you can see we've got our 2 first stitches there that we've done. Now we need to do 2 more blue. 1, and again, I'm sandwiching my complementary color there. 1, 2, pause so we don't use the blue to complete it. Pull the blue forward, grab the white, yarn under to complete that stitch. We've got our 2 blue now that we've done. So we've got white, blue, now we need 2 white again. So sandwiching the blue again, we've got 1, 2, pause mid-stitch, bring the white forward, pick up the blue, yarn under, and complete this stitch. So we have our 2 white. Now we have 1 blue. So 1 blue, pause mid-stitch, bring it forward, pick up the white, complete that stitch in white. We have 2 white, 1, 2, bring that forward, complete it with blue. Only 1 blue again. Pause mid-stitch, complete it with white. And then 2 white. 1, 2, complete it with blue. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm getting lost if I've done it right. So 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, there I am. I have 2 blue right there, and then I'm going to start doing the T. So 1, 2, complete it with white. 2 of white that I need to do. 1, 2, complete it with blue. And it's a personal preference. You can see my yarn is getting pretty tangled. I like to detangle it at the end of the row before I'm constantly untangling it mid-row, but you can do either. And then also this first row takes the most concentration because you have nothing to go off of. The second row, once you have one row done in tapestry crochet, it is a little bit easier. So if you are watching a show or listening to an audiobook or something, you may want to pause it for the first row, and then it should go a bit smoother once you have this first row done. Now I have 3 blue. 1, 2, 3. Complete it with white. 1 white. Complete it with blue. And then I have 1 blue and then 3 white. So this is also all written out in the written instructions. I find it much easier to pay attention to the chart when I'm doing tapestry crochet, but maybe you prefer to look at the written instructions, and it will say like 3 main color stitches, switch to complementary color, etc. So that is always an option as well. Some people enjoy that method instead of the chart. All right, 3 blue and then 2 white. 1, 2, 3. Then we need 2 white. 1, 2. I need 2 blue, then 2 white. So here's 1, 2 blue, and then 2 white. If you need this slowed down, don't forget that on YouTube there is a feature to watch this slower. You can just watch it at 0.5 speed. All right, so we're nearing the end of our first row of tapestry crochet. We've got 4 blue, 2 white, 2 blue, 2 white. So 4 blue, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 white, 1, 2, 2 blue, 1, 2, and my last white, 2 whites, 1 and 2. Switch back to blue. Now, we only have blues that we need to do for the rest of this row, but we need to actually count out the blues and make sure that it is the correct number of blues in the chart to make sure that somehow it didn't get shifted. So we have 10, 13, 14, 15. There should be 15 blues. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Good, we did it correctly. Now, also what I like to look at is the next row. I like to look to see where our complementary color needs to be picked up next. In this instance, it's right above, and so I don't need to carry my white over a few stitches. If for some reason there was the next row I needed white all the way over here, I like to carry the white over for it to be easier for me to pick it up the next row. But like I said, it's right on top of each other. So I'm just going to drop white, not carry over it anymore, and do my 15 blue stitches. I'm going to do the rest of this off camera, and then I'm going to detangle my yarn and get myself ready for row 16. Looking at row 15, you can see, let me get it so that you can see we have our marks that correspond to row 15 right there. Now we're on the wrong side, so I'm going to flip this over. And now I want to talk about when I'm going to use my bobbin. So I want to start using my bobbin for this, and this, so that it will be ready for me to pick it up when on row 18, when I need it for the bottom of the question mark right there. So I'm going to do my main color, or my big skein, through the bottom of the T, and then I'm going to switch to my bobbin, my separate little bobbin right here, and do this, and this in the bobbin. It doesn't really matter if you do it this way or not. You're going to get good results either way. I'm just trying to minimize how many ends I need to weave in, and so some pre-planning can help you do that. So that's why I'm choosing to do it this way. And then let me show you. So we're going to work, we have 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 main color stitches. So we're going to work all 15, and then this is where we're going to do our first color in the complementary color, and it's right here where we need it, which is good. On the wrong side, I like to do a method to help hide this show through, because when you're carrying the main color through the words, it can have some show through. So I'll show you how to do that. If you want a more in-depth video of why I do this, you can view that here. But let's go ahead and get started. So we chain 1, and then 15 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, and 15. We're going to pause mid-stitch, bring our main color forward, pick up the complementary color, and yarn under to complete that stitch. I'm going to give my main color a little tug there. And now let me show you, for the right side, we sandwiched our main color and carried it all the way. For this, I'm going to drop and do, so I have 2 single crochets I need to do in this complementary color. So here's my first one, and then I'm going to pick up the main color, and I'm not rolling it to the back this time because I want it to stay on the wrong side. So I'm having it on the front like this. You can see how that looks. And then I'm doing my last single crochet in this complementary color. Bring that forward, and you can see I have 2 main color I need to do. So yarn under to complete that stitch, give the complementary color a little tug. I have 2 main color I need to do, so I'm going to float my complementary color that first stitch, and then sandwich the second. Pause mid-stitch and yarn under with the complementary color, because I have 2 right here I need to do. So I'm going to float the first one with the main color and then sandwich the second one. Complete the stitch with my main color. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4 until we need to do the complementary again. So I'm going to float the first one, 1, pick it back up for this one, 2, 3, and then 4. Complete the stitch with the complementary. And let's just take a pause. Like I said, there's a more in-depth video of why I do these floats every other stitch, but you can see when we look on the right side, you can't see the blue peeking through right here. And then you can't see the cream peeking through right here either. And that's because a stitch, if we sandwiched all the way across, it would peek through right here in between the V stitches. But since we are doing it every other stitch, it's curving more around the V and not showing through where it traditionally does at the top of this V there. So it takes a little bit of extra time, but I think it's well worth it. So now we're on the first part of our H. So we have 2 cream, 2 blue, 2 cream. So 1, grab the blue, sandwich it, 2, yarn under, and then we're going to float the cream for that first blue single crochet. 1, grab it, 2, and now the cream is there for you to grab, complete it, and then 2 cream stitches, 1 and 2. And then complete it with our blue. Now we have 2 blue and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 complementary color right here. And so this is going to be very apparent with the floating. So I'm going to float every other stitch so we don't have this show through. So we have 2 blue, 1 and 2. Complete that stitch with our complementary color, and we have 6 complementary. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you can see how I was using my thumb to grab it every other stitch. Take the blue and complete that stitch. 2 blue, 3 complementary. 1, 2, 3 complementary. So I'm going to sandwich this first one. So there's 1, don't sandwich that one, 2, 3. Complete the stitch with blue. The reason why I sandwiched the first one is because when it's an odd number of stitches, I need the sandwich to be the last stitch before the color change so it can be there for me to pick up and complete the stitch with the new color. So when it's an odd number, I always do sandwich, float, sandwich. If it's an even number, like it has been, then I do float, sandwich, float, sandwich, float, sandwich. All right, so we just finished our T. So now we're going to drop this strand and leave it here. And I am going to now, for these colors, I'm using my bobbin. So getting my bobbin ready, I have 2 blue and then 2 complementary. So not carrying anything right now across, I just do my 2, pause last stitch, and then complete it with my new bobbin. I have 2 complementary, so I'm going to float the first stitch of blue and sandwich the second. Now it's here for me to be able to pick up and complete the stitch with the blue. Give those tails a little tug. So we've done that one. Now we have 1 and then 2 complementary. So I'm going to sandwich that 1 so I can complete the stitch with my complementary. Float that first one, sandwich the second, complete it with my blue, and then we have 1, 2, so I'm just going to sandwich the cream for the 1, complete the stitch with the cream, float the first single crochet, sandwich the second, and then we have 2 blue, 2 complementary. 1, 2, and then 2. 1 and 2. And now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches left in our row. So we did do it correctly. It's very important to always count those stitches at the end of your row, even though you might think, oh, I know I did it correctly. Let me just share from experiences how many times I've messed myself up by being too confident and then being 4 rows in and realizing I messed up the color work section. So this is what we're looking like so far. It will start to make more shape and start to take more shape once we get more rows into it. So now we're on row 17. We have 20 stitches before we need to do our first complementary color work there. So let me do those 20 stitches. And again, I am just leaving this strand here so that I can then use it when I get to the question mark. So 20 single crochet stitches, 18, 19, and we have our 20. I'm going to sandwich and crochet over this strand that's sitting waiting for me. So I'm going to insert my hook under that stitch and then place the strand, the complementary strand, over my hook and then single crochet. Pause mid-stitch, complete it with the complementary color. All right, so now we are at this portion, the T. So we have 2 complementary, 2 main color, 2 complementary, 2 main color, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, and then a long stretch of W. So let's just work this section together and then we'll do the rest off camera. You can see what it's looking like. We've got our little dots completed and then the dot of the question mark completed. The right side of tapestry and intarsia crochet is much easier than the wrong side because the wrong sides were floating the stitches. So I think we'll be able to do the last portion of this row off camera, but then let's meet back up for row 18 and we can do that together. So we have 2 single crochets of the complementary, pause mid-stitch, and I was crochet sandwiching around the main color to have it ready so that I could finish the stitch in the main color. Now we have 2 main color. So again, we are sandwiching the complementary color in between the single crochets, 1, 2, and then complete the stitch with complementary, and then 1, 2, complete the stitch with the main color. So the next spot for me is right here, the 2 for the middle of the A. Like I said, we're going to do this off camera. Let's meet back up at the start of row 18. Here I am on the back side of row 18. I've single crocheted 13. I need to do 1 more and I'm going to switch mid-stitch to my complementary color. So here's my 14th single crochet and then complete it with the complementary color. Now you can see I have 1, 2, 3, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the complementary color. So I'm going to float the main color first. So I'm just going to do 1 single crochet and then sandwich the blue for the second, 2, float the third, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So every other stitch I alternate between sandwich, float, sandwich, float. And now I'm going to complete that 8th single crochet in the main color and give the complementary color a little tug on the tail. And I have 3 main color now. So I'm going to sandwich the first one, 1, float the second, 2, sandwich the third, and then complete it with the complementary, 2 complementary, 2 main color, 2 complementary. Float, sandwich, finish that stitch with blue, float, sandwich, finish with the complementary color, float, sandwich, and finish with the main color. So now we're right here, right before the A. So 2 complementary, 2 main color, 2 complementary. So I'm going to float, sandwich, finish with complementary, float, sandwich, oops, finish with main color, float, sandwich, finish with complementary. All right, so I've kind of lost track of where we even are, to be honest. Let's flip it around and look at it. So we have WHA, so we're in the middle, we're right here. So I have 2 complementary, 2 main color, 2 complementary. So 2 complementary, so I'm gonna float, sandwich, finish with the main color, float, sandwich, finish with complementary, float, sandwich, finish with the main color. All right, so we just did our T, so we can drop our complementary strand right here, and then we're going to single crochet with main color all the way until we reach our question mark where we have our bobbin of complementary that we can use right there. So moving the complementary strand out of the way, I can now just crochet with the main color. I have 10, 11, 12, 13, because you can see it might be hard to see on the camera, but there's a dark line and dark line, which indicates 10. So 10, 11, 12, 13. All right, so I've got 13. Make sure you don't accidentally skip a single crochet here. It can be really easy to skip that first one because like the complementary color strand is hanging in the way. So move that out of the way and make sure you don't skip it. I find if my color work gets off, it's usually because of that. 1, 2, 3, and 13. So stopping mid stitch, I then pick up my complementary and I'm going to complete that stitch with the complementary. So you can see our complementary strand wasn't quite in the right position, but it doesn't matter because we're on the wrong side. So it's going over, we were 1 stitch to the left that we should have been at, but it doesn't matter if it's just 1 stitch. If it were 3 stitches, I would have carried on row 17, I would have carried the complementary to get it in the right position, but this doesn't matter here. So we have 2 of the main of complementary. So again, this is kind of hard to see since that strand is crossed over. So moving that out of the way, our first complementary is right there. 1, and then sandwiching the main color. 2, complete with the main color, and then we have 5 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That completes row 18. Let's look at it together. So we have 3 strands coming off. We have the one for our T, the one for our question mark, and then our main color, which we will continue to go all the way across with. So I'm going to continue doing this off camera. Now that you know how to do the tapestry and intarsia crochet, we'll do the rest off camera. And then let's meet back up on row 11 of the back panel. Let's talk about the back of the pillow. So you can see for the back, we have 4 colors. We have our main color, the orange, the white, and then a tiny bit of the red. So when I have a huge portion of one color, like this chicken body, I like to drop the main color and not carry it throughout. So that's what I'm planning on doing for the main body of the chicken. So I'm gonna have 1 bobbin for the main, before we begin the back, we need to plan out our color work. So for the feet, I'm just going to be carrying the main color throughout. Same with the words of this design, but for the body of the chicken, I am going to have blue over here, drop it when I get to here, use the white, and then pick up another bobbin of blue. You can carry the main color throughout the chicken. It's fine if you choose to do it that way, but I'm just going to do it where I have more intarsia crochet, where I have a skein or bobbin for this side of the blue, white, and then another skein or bobbin of blue for this side. So when I get to this portion, then I just drop the blue, pick up the white, only work with the white, and then pick up the new blue. So we'll go over that together on row 21 when we get there. But first, let's just start the back of the pillow. And so I've crocheted up through row 10. So I am on row 11. So I have 10 blue, I have 19 blue, and then I have my first color of orange. So I have that skein right here. So like I said, for the feet, I'm going to be carrying the main color throughout, and then I'm just going to use the main skein and then use it for both feet as well for the orange. So again, I need to do 19 in my blue, and then I do my 1 orange. 1, 2, and 19. So this is the right side because it's row 11. So I pull the main color forward, pick up my new color, complete that last stitch with my new color, and then do my 1 stitch of single crochet in the orange while still crocheting over the blue so that I can then pick up and complete the stitch with the blue. And then I just need to, I'm going to crochet over the orange for 1 stitch because you can see the next row I have to pick it up 1 stitch, one stitch over. So I'm going to get myself ready for the next row by doing crocheting over the orange for 1 stitch. And then I'm going to drop my orange and single crochet in blue for the rest of this row. So you can see my orange is ready to be picked up 1 stitch over for row 12. So I'm going to do the rest off camera. Let's meet back up on row 21 when we start the big portion of white for the chicken body. So let's meet back up on row 21. I've made it to row 21. And so I need to have my bobbin of blue for this side of the chicken and my bobbin of blue for this side of the chicken. So I wanted to show you how I'm going to be arranging my yarn, because sometimes that can be the trickiest part. So I have this tiny bobbin of white, and of course you don't have to do it this way, but this is the way that I'm doing it. So I have this little bit of white that is going to be how I finish up the butt wording right here. And then I have my big skein that I'm going to be using for the body of the chicken. I have my skein of blue that I've been using, and I made a large bobbin of blue for the left side. So that is how I'm going to have blue on both sides. When I get to the arrow, I'm guessing that this will be enough to do the arrow. If not, I can pull from the outside of this skein that I'm going to be using for the main body of the chicken. So let's do this together. I have 16 of the blue, and then I have 2 orange and 8 white. So I need to do 16 of blue, 15 and 16. These 2 orange here are going to be my last orange until I get to the beak. So, oh, again, I need to make sure that I don't carry my blue. So 2 orange, just crocheting the 2. Pause after that last stitch. I'm going to get this blue untangled, and then on over here, I'm going to put it on this side so it's out of the way. Now I'm grabbing my big skein of cream, completing the stitch in that cream color, and then I think it was 8, yeah, 8 of white. 1, 2, 8, pause mid-stitch. Now I need to grab my new skein of blue, finish that stitch out in the blue, and then you can see next row the white is 1 stitch to the left, and so I'm going to crochet over the white for 1 stitch. That way it will be there when I need it for the next row. And then I have 9 of blue. I've already done 1, 2, and 9. Complete that 9th stitch with the cream, 2 cream, and I'm going to be crocheting over the main color here so that I can use it between the wording or the letters. Switch to blue, 3 of blue, 1, 2, 3, switch to cream, 2 with our contrasting color, finish that stitch with blue. Now we have 2 blue, 2 white, 1 blue, 2 white. So 2 blue, 2 white, 1 blue, 2 white, and then we have 3 blue. So let's do those 3. 1, 2, 3. And how many white? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 white. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Switch to the blue, and then do the rest of the row in blue. So I'm going to work the rest of this off camera. We have the only part that may hang you up is where we have blue. So what row was that? Row 51. We have blue, orange, red, white, and then blue all in one row. You're just going to work it the same way. Just have a bobbin of color and then a bobbin of color, and don't carry the blue throughout that line. At least that's how I would do it. And then same thing for when we get up here, have blue on this side and blue on this side of the chicken, and then don't carry it through the head here, but then do carry it through the wording. So let's meet back up on the assembly section. I finished my back panel. You can see how it looks. The yarn is still connected in the top left corner. So now I'm ready to assemble. To assemble, you begin by not having the pillow insert. You have that to the side, and then we're going to single crochet these 3 sides and flip it right side out, insert the pillow, and then whip stitch the top. So I have right sides facing each other. So I have the bad side exposed, and double check that you have both sides facing up so it's not upside down, if that makes sense. So double check that, and then I'm going to get this side first. You don't have to use these optional clips, but I like using them. They just make things line up easier. So they look like this, and I'll link them. And so I'm going to clip this bottom corner first, clip the middle, a fourth, and then a fourth. All right, so right now my yarn is connected to the back piece. It doesn't really matter if it's connected to the front or the back, but that's how it is since I'm right-handed. And so I'm going to insert my hook into the top corner of my front and then go through the corner of the back and single crochet. Going into the next row end through both thicknesses and single crocheting. So I'm just going to do that all the way down, going into each row end through both the front and the back and single crocheting. And I like to do this on the inside of the pillow because I think it gives for a cleaner appearance. That's often one of the things I see when people are making pillows, that they do this single crochet joining on the right side, and it makes a very distinguishable seam, and I just don't think it looks as clean. So I like to do this on the inside of the pillow and then flip it out for the right side. And if you were making this and you thought, well, my pillow doesn't actually measure 16 inches by 16 inches, like with most home decor pillows, you want your pillow insert to be slightly smaller than, you want your pillow insert to be slightly bigger than your pillow cover. That way it gives it a really full look and doesn't look really limp. The pillow looks really nice if it's slightly smaller than the insert. So I'm going to continue doing this off camera. Let's meet back up at this corner and I'll show you how to do the corner. I've completed this side here. Now I'm at the corner and I have one stitch, which is the corner here. The only thing you do differently for the corners is you're going to work that stitch, chain one, and then work the same stitch again. And that helps turn, the chain one helps turn it and then get you ready to do the next edge. So do that at the remaining corner, and then let's meet back up at the top when we insert the pillow insert. I finished all 3 edges. The top is open, and so now I need to flip this right side out and make sure that you get those corners. You put your finger in and get those corners so they're not still the wrong way. Okay, so I've got my pillow right side out. Guess what? Chicken butt. And I did it the right way. Now I need to insert my pillow insert. Make sure you line up those corners. All right, my corners are lined up. Now I need to seam the top. You can see my yarn still connected, but I need to cut it. So I'm going to do about a 2 times length of the top, and then that will give me enough yarn to seam the top. I've got my handy clips, so I'm going to clip middle and quarter and the first quarter to help me stay on track to make sure that I'm seaming it evenly. Now I have it clipped, I'm going to take my tapestry needle, thread it through, and then I'm going to whip stitch the top. To whip stitch the top, you go through one side to begin. You can also do mattress stitch if you prefer mattress stitch. I just find that for this pillow, it doesn't really make a difference, mattress stitch versus whip stitch, and whip stitch is faster. So that's why I'm doing whip stitch. So what you do is going in one direction, you go through both sides and under 2 strands on each side, and then pull the strand through. So again, under both sides, 4 strands total, and pull it through. So I'm going to do that all the way across. When I get to the end, I'm going to make a knot and then pull it through the top to hide the knot and secure it, and then weave in the end. So that is how you make the chicken butt pillow. Hey friends, thanks for joining me on today's video. I have this video right here that I think you'll really enjoy, so go check it out and be sure to subscribe for more crochet and knit tutorials. My name is Rachel from Cozy Nooks Designs, and happy making!